For decades, the software labor market functioned as a highly predictable ecosystem. It offered aggressive growth, high compensation, and a reliable pipeline where recent graduates could easily secure entry-level coding positions. Then, the equilibrium broke. In November 2022, OpenAI publicly released version 3.5 of ChatGPT. Almost immediately, the hiring market for programmers fractured. Over the following 12 months, the relative proportion of junior-level software developer vacancies dropped by 16.3% compared to senior roles. Economists classify this phenomenon as skill-biased technological change. When an emerging technology automates routine tasks, it acts as a direct substitute for routine labor, while augmenting the productivity of senior workers. To quantify exactly how this played out, researchers analyzed a massive dataset from Lightcast, examining 20 million unique U.S. job vacancies across the computer and mathematical sectors. They needed a way to measure the exact point of the fracture, so they tracked the ratio of senior roles, jobs requiring 4 or more years of experience, to junior roles, requiring fewer than 4 years. This chart shows the monthly ratio of senior to junior developer vacancies. Before late 2022, the trend line is stable, but in November 2022, ChatGPT launches. Instantly, the ratio spikes upward, mirroring hiring disruptions normally seen during massive economic downturn. This spike represents a structural pivot in how firms value human experience, prioritizing established oversight over the ability to generate automated code. The immediate counterargument is that 2022 was simply a bad year for tech. The industry entered a broader recession, and companies scaled back hiring across the board. To separate general economic contraction from the specific impact of artificial intelligence, researchers utilized a difference in differences methodology. This isolated the AI variable by comparing software engineers against all other mathematical and computer-based occupations. This chart plots 2 distinct vacancy ratios. The top line represents general computer occupations, like systems administrators and data scientists. The lower, sharply steeper line represents software developers. The reason for this drastic separation is a concept called task overlap. Generative AI models function by predicting the next item in a sequence based on vast training data. That makes these models exceptionally proficient at producing boilerplate scripts and debugging syntax, the exact scope of work traditionally assigned to junior software engineers. However, large language models struggle to evaluate broader business logic or design high-level software architecture. Those tasks heavily require the contextual judgment of an experienced senior engineer. Because their core outputs so closely match the capabilities of generative AI, software developers experience the sharpest displacement of any technical field. But relying entirely on job descriptions with clearly stated experience requirements leaves a massive blind spot. Over 35% of software developer vacancies leave their required years of experience entirely blank. To categorize these unlabeled jobs, researchers built a logistic regression classifier. They trained the model to analyze common technical skills in job postings, sorting vacancies into junior or senior buckets based on whether they asked for high-level concepts like architecture or scaling. The model evaluates the specific combination of skills a company asks for, accurately predicting the true experience level the employer expects, even when they refuse to state a number. When applied to the millions of unlabeled postings, the model confirmed the exact same reality: a steep, immediate drop in junior opportunities following the introduction of ChatGPT. Companies are engaging in experience obfuscation. By omitting the formal requirement for entry-level years, hiring managers can subtly filter for candidates with advanced skill sets without officially changing the job description. Algorithmic screening layers have effectively masked the entry-level market, prioritizing overqualified candidates behind a blank experience field. This raises a critical mechanical question. Is the market simply hiring fewer juniors and more principals? Or is something happening inside the roles themselves? Researchers applied shift share analysis to break down exactly where this experience inflation was occurring, dividing the data into changes between different job titles and changes within the exact same titles. This bar chart visualizes the breakdown of the 0.34-year average increase in required experience across the industry. The tiny sliver represents the shift in the mix of job titles. The massive segment represents increased requirements demanded for the exact same titles. Look specifically at the standard title of software engineer. companies did not stop hiring for this role. They mutated its definition. The baseline requirement for a standard software engineer now includes mid-level oversight, complex system troubleshooting, and refining AI-generated workflows. When entry-level demand fails to keep pace with graduation rates, the long-term supply of senior talent begins to erode. This creates a logical case for institutional interventions, such as subsidized apprenticeships, to keep the professional pipeline intact. Graduates entering a market during these periods of high friction often face labor market scarring, a persistent reduction in lifetime earnings caused by an initial inability to secure a career-starting role. The junior software role has been redefined in real time to demand 4 years of prior hands-on experience. Every year, over 100,000 computer science graduates enter the U.S. labor market. They are now colliding directly with this experience bottleneck. To provide a credible path forward for displaced early career developers, researchers constructed an occupational co-occurrence network. This network maps the hidden skill similarities between software engineering and the rest of the economy. Software engineer sits at the center hub, with pathways extending out to roles that require identical logical frameworks. The network calculates revealed comparative advantage, identifying distinct programming skills valuable in non-coding occupations. By following these vectors, researchers found safe havens requiring minimal reskilling. Roles like industrial engineer heavily rely on data mining and optimization logic. These roles require analyzing high-frequency data sets to generate actionable business insights for manufacturers and governments. That final interpretive step, applying human contextual judgment to data, remains the last mile that models cannot bridge. In these adjacent fields, programming serves as a means of execution rather than the final product, rewarding developers who can translate data into organizational strategy. The AI transition does not eliminate the developer. It forces a migration toward high-level strategy, where human judgment remains the primary value.